Welcome to Alma Tales Lab, where lying wives and sneaky girlfriends finally get exposed. From girl trips that never happened to coworkers who were a little too friendly, we break down every red flag, messy receipt, and suspicious text with humor, shock, and just a little bit of petty. Expect wild stories, dramatic reactions, and satisfying karma as the truth comes crashing through the door. If you love relationship tea, plot twists, and seeing players get played, this channel is your new home. Every single chaotic, jaw-dropping, binge-worthy episode. Hit subscribe and never miss a fresh dose of exposed cheating. Don't forget to check our previous stories. Let's get into it. The cruel thing my wife did was post a couple photo with her ex, tag my full name, and let her people turn me into a joke for entertainment, then smirk in my face like my humiliation was harmless. Here's how it happened. When I met Sabrina Coulter, I was living in Aurora, Colorado, working long hours in operations and saving like I had something to protect. She had a warm laugh and a way of making ordinary moments feel like celebrations. She told me she wanted a quiet kind of love, steady, loyal, grown. I believe her because I wanted to. I had seen messy relationships in my family, and I promised myself mine would be different. Sabrina looked like different. She looked like peace. I did not realize peace can be rehearsed. For a while, it really was blissful. We took weekend drives into the mountains, windows down, music low, her hand resting on my arm like it belonged there. We built routines that made life feel safe. Sunday grocery runs, movie nights, slow mornings when she would sit on the counter and talk while I cooked. She would post pictures of us, normal pictures, smiling in the kitchen, laughing at a friend's cookout, dressed up at weddings. People called us goals. I let myself enjoy the label. Our house became the center of our circle. Sabrina loved hosting, bright table settings, candles, food lined up like a magazine spread. Her sister Dion and cousin Marquis were always around, loud and opinionated, acting like they owned the air in our living room. I did not mind at first because I thought that was what family looked like. When Sabrina leaned into me on the couch and whispered, "This is our life," I believed her. I thought I had earned a love that would not embarrass me. I did not know she was studying my trust like a weakness. The first crack was small. Sabrina started guarding her phone like it contained instructions for survival. If I walked into a room, she would tilt the screen away. If I asked who she was texting, she would laugh and say I was paranoid. She began using language that made me question myself. "You always assume the worst. You make everything heavy. Why can't you be normal?" I started apologizing for asking reasonable questions. I started shrinking in my own house just to keep the peace she claimed to love. Then she got nostalgic. That was the word she used. She brought up her ex, Kellen Ricks, like he was an old song she missed but would never replay. She told stories about their early 20s, concerts, late-night diners, inside jokes. She would say it casually, but her eyes would soften in a way I had not seen in a while. When I asked why his name kept coming up, she told me I was insecure. Dion heard her say it and laughed, like my discomfort was comedy. I told myself I was overthinking. I was not. I kept trying to be better in the ways she claimed to want. I planned a surprise dinner in Denver, reserved a quiet table, bought her the perfume she always pointed at but never purchased. She smiled, thanked me, and posted a picture of the dessert. For a moment, I felt steady again. Then in the car, she looked out the window and said, "You do nice things, but you do not excite me." It landed like a slap because it was said so calmly. I did not know a person could be cruel without raising their voice. The week before everything blew up, Sabrina started dressing differently, more deliberate, more polished, like she was auditioning. She would leave early for errands and come back with nothing. She became impatient with my presence, irritated by my questions, bored by my affection. Marquis visited one night and joked, "Man, you better keep your wife entertained." Sabrina laughed too hard. Dion added, "Some men get comfortable, then act surprised." They both looked at me like they were daring me to react. I swallowed it because reacting felt like giving them what they wanted. The day of the humiliation started like any other day. I went to work, handled shipments, solved problems, answered calls. Around late morning, my phone started vibrating nonstop. At first, I assumed something happened with the project. Then I saw the notifications, tags, mentions, messages from people I had not spoken to in years. My stomach tightened. I opened the app and saw it. Sabrina, smiling with Kellen, his arm around her waist on my marriage was a rumor. The caption read, "Sometimes you realize what you should have never left," with laughing emojis. She had tagged me. Not quietly. Not by mistake. My full name was sitting under their couple photo like a label on a joke. The comments were worse than the picture. People I recognized were laughing, posting skull emojis, pretending it was harmless entertainment. Dion commented something slick. Marquis added a line that made it sound like I had been replaced. Even a co-worker, Trent, reacted with the kind of casual cruelty that says, "I do not respect you." I felt heat in my face and a cold emptiness in my chest at the same time. I tried to keep working, but my body would not cooperate. My hand shook when I reached for my coffee. My throat felt tight like I was swallowing rocks. Every time my phone lit up, it was another person watching my marriage like a show. I wanted to call Sabrina and ask why, but I knew the answer would be a performance. Gaslighting, laughter, blame. She would turn my pain into my problem. That realization hurt more than the comments. I was not just being betrayed. I was being displayed. And the audience was people she fed. I left work early and drove home in a fog. The house looked the same from the outside. Clean yard, quiet street, the illusion of stability. Inside, Sabrina was in the kitchen like nothing happened, sipping coffee, scrolling. She did not jump. She did not hide the phone. She looked up and gave me a slow smile, the kind you give someone when you know you have the upper hand. "You saw it?" she asked, calm and satisfied, like she was checking if her prank landed. My voice barely worked when I said yes. Sabrina leaned against the counter, unbothered. "It's just a post," she said. Then she added, "Do not be dramatic." She watched my face like she was studying how much damage she did. When I asked why she tagged me, she shrugged. "Because it's funny. People like it." No apology. No remorse. No embarrassment. Just that casual cruelty people use when they think you cannot leave. Then she said the line that made everything in me go quiet. "Maybe if you're not so boring, I would not need someone who makes me feel alive." I stood there realizing she was not confused. She was not caught up in a mistake. She was intentional. She wanted me to feel small in my own home, in my own name. She wanted me desperate enough to beg or angry enough to explode so she could point and say, "See, this is why." I looked around our kitchen, the place we had laughed, cooked, planned, and it felt like a stage now. I did not argue. I did not raise my voice. I just nodded once, like I was filing the moment away for later. That evening was one long, quiet humiliation. Sabrina kept laughing at her phone, replying to comments, acting like she was the star of something. When I walked past her, she did not lower her voice or soften her expression. She wanted me to see it. Dion called on speakerphone and said, "Girl, you are crazy," laughing like it was a compliment. Marquis chimed in with jokes. Sabrina did not correct anyone. She did not defend me. She treated my dignity like spare change, something she could throw away without noticing the loss. I slept badly, not because I wanted her back, but because my mind kept replaying the comments. I kept seeing my name under that photo. I kept hearing her calm voice. It's funny. By morning, I felt exhausted in a way that had nothing to do with sleep. I realized something simple. Sabrina was not going to stop. She enjoyed the power too much. The question was not, how do I make her understand? The question was, how do I end my part in this without giving her another show? I want to work again, functioning on autopilot. People avoided my eyes. Trent tried to act normal, but his tone had a slight edge, like he wanted to see if I would crumble. The building felt too bright, like everyone could read my thoughts. I kept my face neutral, but inside I felt scraped raw. I did not want revenge that looked dramatic. I wanted consequences that were real. I wanted the kind of shift you cannot laugh off, cannot comment your way out of, cannot repost into something cute. At lunch, I sat in my car and made a list. Not of insults, not of threats, just facts. What I paid for, what I covered, what I protected. The mortgage autopay, the insurance, the cards tied to my income, the shared accounts that made Sabrina's life smooth. I realized I'd been funding my own disrespect. Not because I was weak, but because I had been loyal. Loyalty is beautiful when it is mutual. When it is not, loyalty becomes a rope. I decided I would not be tied by it anymore. By early afternoon, I walked into my bank branch in Denver and asked for a manager. I did not yell. I did not tell a dramatic story. I simply explained that I needed to protect myself and separate finances immediately. The manager asked standard questions, and I answered with calm clarity. I moved my direct deposit to my personal account. I removed my name from convenience access wherever I could. I froze joint spending options that were tied to my income. I canceled auto pays in my name and rerouted bills connected to my responsibilities only. Then I drove to an attorney's office in Denver and sat in a quiet conference room with a woman who did not need drama to understand betrayal. I told her the truth. My wife publicly humiliated me, and I needed a clean legal path forward. She asked for documentation, and I provided it: screenshots, account statements, records of payments. The attorney did not promise fantasies. She promised process. She explained what I could do immediately and what would take time. I signed what I needed to sign. I felt sick and steady at the same time. When I left that office, the sun looked too normal for the day I was having. I sat in my car, hands on the steering wheel, and breathed until my heart slowed down. I did not feel victorious. I felt focused. That was the difference. I was not trying to hurt Sabrina the way she hurt me. I was trying to remove myself from her reach. There's a special kind of relief in choosing not to beg anymore. I drove back toward Aurora with quiet instructions in my head. Do it clean, do it fast, do it final. Before going home, I stopped by a storage place and rented a small unit. I bought boxes, tape, and a marker. I did not pack like I was running. I packed like I was reclaiming. I took only what was mine: documents, personal items, clothes, a few framed photos that did not feel like lies. Each box was a boundary. Each sealed strip of tape felt like a decision holding firm. I did not break anything. I did not leave a mess. I refused to give Sabrina a story where I looked unstable. I wanted my exit to be undeniable, not dramatic. When I walked into the house, Sabrina was still scrolling, still smiling at her phone like she was paid to be cruel. She looked up, noticed the boxes, and her expression changed, not to regret, but to irritation. "What is that?" she asked, like I was inconveniencing her. I said, "I'm moving my things." She laughed once, sharp and dismissive. "You are so sensitive," she said. "You really cannot take a joke." Then she glanced at her phone again, like my life falling apart was background noise she could ignore. I packed while she watched. She did not apologize. She did not ask me to stay. She called Dion again, and they talked about me like I was not in the room. Dion's voice came through the speaker, bright and disrespectful. "Let him go. He will come back. They always do." Sabrina hummed in agreement. That was when I understood something important. They did not see me as a person with limits. They saw me as a resource. My patience was a service they expected. My dignity was optional because they were not the ones paying for it. I left an envelope on the kitchen counter when I finished. Inside was a printed confirmation of the legal filing and a short note that did not beg or explain. It simply stated that communication would go through counsel and that financial entanglements were being separated. I did not write poetry. I did not confess heartbreak. I did not ask why. Sabrina did not deserve a piece of my softness after she used it as entertainment. I picked up my last box, walked out, and closed the door behind me without slamming it. Why was the point? Less than an hour later, Sabrina's call started. Not gentle, not remorseful, angry and demanding, like I had stolen something from her. She left voicemails asking what I did, accusing me of being controlling, calling me petty. In one message, she said, "You are trying to punish me because you cannot keep me happy." There was still no apology. She was not ashamed of humiliating me. She was ashamed of losing access. The difference mattered. I did not respond. I forwarded the messages to my attorney and kept my phone on silent. That evening, she posted again, something vague about people showing their true colors and men who cannot handle confident women. Dion and Marquis hyped it up, turning my boundary into a villain story. I watched from a distance, not scrolling for pain, but confirming reality. Sabrina needed an audience, because she did not know how to be accountable in private. But accountability was coming anyway. The next day, when her card declined in Cherry Creek, she learned that captions do not pay bills, and laughter does not replace structure. Kellen did not step in to save her. That was the quiet karma that always arrives. He was bold enough to pose in a photo, bold enough to enjoy the attention, but not bold enough to carry responsibility. When a situation stopped being cute, he disappeared. Sabrina called him in front of people and got no answer. She texted, then called again. No response. The man she used to embarrass me could not even be bothered to support her once consequences showed up. She deleted the post later, not out of remorse, but out of embarrassment. My suffering did not vanish overnight. Some mornings I woke up with that empty feeling again, like my body remembered the betrayal before my mind caught up. I avoided social media. I took long drives. I sat in my new apartment in Lakewood with boxes still half unpacked, listening to silence and learning how to breathe inside it. I went to therapy quietly. I rebuilt routines slowly. I focused on work and asked for responsibilities that matched my skills. I began saving aggressively, not out of fear, but out of respect for myself. The success was private and steady. I did not post about healing. I did not announce anything. I simply lived differently. I learned that peace is not a mood. It is an arrangement you protect. Sabrina never showed remorse, not once. Even in legal discussions, she acted like I overreacted and deserved the joke. That confirmed I chose right. Karma did not need a spotlight. It needed one afternoon of clear action. My revenge was not humiliation. It was removal. And the best part is she cannot tag me in a life I no longer share. If you enjoyed this story, please like, comment, and share this video with your friends. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a powerful story drop.